And so if you're here today, I'm just going to give you a really quick recap of what we've done. You see, the story of Exodus is an amazing story about the character of God. What it shows you is that God sees you when you're trapped in a place you don't want to be. You're trapped in a place and you can't get out. And God sees you, He hears you, and then He acts. And He acts to set you free from that place. And so in the book of Exodus, we see God sends Moses to the trapped people, and through amazing miracles, one after another, He sets them free. They cross the Red Sea. You know that you've seen the movie, maybe The Prince of Egypt, or the kind of Gods of Egypt. What was that one where it was Christian Bale? It was rubbish, that one. Anyway, you've seen the movies, you know the story. And they come into the desert. They come into the desert on their way to the land that God has for them. And if you're here today, I just want to tell you just right up front, if you don't know Jesus, this is Jesus' desire for you. It's to take you from a place where you're trapped, where you're in slavery, where you feel stuck, and to set you free and to place you instead in a land of freedom and of goodness and of richness. Now, for many of us, that journey will last beyond our lifetime. Our lifetime will be the journey through the desert, and at the moment where Jesus returns, or where we die and we go to be with Him, that's the moment where we live in the land of promise and of fullness. But we also get to taste, so many of us, that fullness and that joy and that favour and that flavour in our journey, even in this life. It's a wonderful thing. So if you're wondering, if you're here and you're not a Christian, and you're thinking, what's Jesus all about? That's His intention towards you, to be good to you, to set you free. We're going to just look today at Exodus chapter 25, and then jump into chapter 29. I'm just going to read it out, because this is what's God's design on the journey for you, from where you were in slavery to the place of freedom. So Exodus chapter 25 just has a short little bit I want to say, which says this. It said, God says, "Let the people make a sanctuary that I can dwell in their midst." Let the people on journey make a sanctuary, a tabernacle, a tent that I can dwell in their midst. It says, "Exactly as I show you concerning the pattern of the tabernacle and all of its furniture, so you shall make it." And then He tells them how He wants the pattern to be. And then chapter 29, He says this, "There I will meet with the people of Israel, and it will be sanctified by my glory. I will consecrate the tent of meeting and the altar. Aaron also and his sons I will consecrate to serve me as priests. I will dwell among the people of Israel, and I will be their God. And they will know that I am the Lord their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, and I might dwell among them. I am the Lord their God. I am the Lord their God." Do you know that God doesn't want to just set you free? He wants to be your friend. God wants to be your friend. He wants to be your friend. This is unbelievable. God wants relationship with people. He says, what I want you to do, the people of journey, He says, you're journeying across this desert. Do you know what I want to do? I want to have a house in your neighbourhood. I want to become your neighbour. I want to live with you. I want to sit at your dinner table with you. I want to stand next to you. I want to do life with you. That's what God says to you. He wants to do life with you as your friend. That's His desire. And yet the sin of the people, the way that they just ignore God and deny Him, means that He's got to come up with a way to make that possible. And so what He does is He establishes a tent, and He makes a very specific culture around His house. He says it has to be a very specific and precise culture. And He comes up with things like, you shouldn't eat pork. You shouldn't do these kind of things. You shouldn't act in those kind of ways. These people need to wear these clothes, this turban and this ephod and these things, and they need to act in this way, and on this particular date they need to come and do this, and on that date they need to do that, and if they've ever done this they need to take these animals and sacrifice those animals, and He creates a culture around His house, because He actually says what I need around my house is a very precise way of acting, and if you act in that way, then I can be among you and be your friend. I don't know if you grew up in Britain, there's a kind of British tradition every year, normally for one day, that happens You'll understand it if you grew up in Britain. If you didn't, I'm just going to tell you what this tradition is every year. You see, what happens every year is it's normally around about July or August, but you'll hear a whisper on the wind that a really hot day is coming. You'll hear a whisper on the wind that a really hot day is coming, and you'll start to talk about it with your friends. You know, it's going to be hot this weekend. Have you seen the forecast? It's going to be hot this weekend. And you'll talk about it with your friends. And then what you'll do is you'll go to bed the night before, and you'll be like, get the fan, we're going to need the fan, because it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot tonight. So you go to bed with the fan on, and when you get up in the morning, as you get up, you're like, whew. And I can guarantee you it was 20 degrees last night. It was 20 degrees. Can you believe it was 20 degrees last night? You're like, yeah, it was 20 degrees. And then as you come downstairs, it used to be you'd have the paper, but now you switch on your phone. And as you switch on your phone or open the paper, you'll discover the headline. We have it every year. It's a British tradition. Hotter than Athens! Exclamation mark. It's hotter than Athens today. My friend's in Athens. He went on holiday to get the sun, and it's hotter for me here. It's a British tradition. And then if it's school, or if you've got kids in the house, what you do is this, you'll say, now then, we've got to be careful of the sun, be careful of the sun. What we need to do, get little Johnny, and you get little Johnny, or my brother Ben, you know, my brother Ben was, get him in, right, wear your hat. Do not take your hat off at all today, Ben. Do you understand? You wear that hat. As soon as you go outside, you wear your hat. You doing it? You know what I'm talking about? Wear the hat. And they'll be like, right, come here. And they'll get like a huge tube of sun cream, and that's smothering it all over and all over. And, with my brother Ben, he went through a phase where he's slightly chubby and, he's kind of covered in the cream. He actually looked like Stay Puft going to school, Hello, from Ghostbusters, the big white marshmallow. And this is what we do. In England, we're like, reapply. Have you reapplied the sun cream? And so what we do is we create around the sun a very specific culture. We have to have this in place. We have to have that in place. Otherwise, we're going to burn. Otherwise, you're going to get burned. Who knows what's going to be the consequences of that? And this is what God does in the Old Testament with the tabernacle. He's like, I'm like the sun. If you come to me in an unprotected manner, you will be burned. It will be bad for you. You need to create protection. So the whole mechanism of the law, of ceremony, and of how you eat and what you dress like and what you do in the week, it was all about the sun cream going on. It's all about the kind of hat being worn. And then Jesus shows up. And Jesus is like, the guy who comes, and I remember when I first got to know a black guy, and he was like, sun cream? I love the sun cream. Hotter than Athens? In Lagos, it's hotter than Athens every day. I mean, who cares about that? 20 degrees at night? That's like winter. What? Yes. And suddenly he's like, I don't need all these laws to protect me from the sun, because this is how I live. And Jesus shows up and he's like that guy. He's like, I don't need to obey Sabbath. I don't need to only eat. You don't need to eat certain things anymore. You don't need to worry about exactly what you dress like or the language you use now. You can come to God in any culture. We can remove this very specific culture that has to be followed in order to come to God. And if you have Jewish friends, that's the difference we have between Judaism and when Jesus comes. Because in Judaism, you still need this very specific culture. But with Jesus, he washes it all away, and he says, you can come to me whoever you are, whatever you are. Now, he doesn't remove the requirement for holiness, for a heart that loves God and loves other people, but he sweeps away all the precise culture that was required in the wilderness, in the desert. And now he says, come to me whoever you are. However you are right now, come to me and be my friend. I want to be friends with you. And the reason he can achieve that is because he releases forgiveness of sins through the cross. It was your sin, it's your guilt, it's your shame that separates you from God. And with Jesus, he takes that, places it on himself and says, now there's no barrier. So now you can come to me however you are. And if you've been in church for a little while, you know this is true. You know this is true. And yet sometimes I find that we just kind of subconsciously sometimes just put something out there that suggests to people that actually you still have to be a certain kind of person in order to come to God and be friends with God. I became a Christian when I was about 15 years old. And when I was about 15 years old, I went to a church, and everybody dressed smart in that church. Everybody dressed smart in that church. And they all sung songs that I found slightly boring, and we'd stand up and sing the song and then sit down. But the one thing that they used to do is they used to do dance. They used to do dance in church. Now, if you knew anything about me when I was 15 years old, I loved sport. I loved sport. Sport was my number one love, and if I could do anything with my life, I wanted to play sport. And then there was this lady, I think she was slightly too old to wear a leotard, but she regularly wore a leotard. And she would dance in front of church. And I used to look at this and think, is this what you have to do to be a Christian? Is this what it is to be a Christian, to dance like this? To flowing music, you know, you raise me up. And they used to tell me, they told me you have to be in the band, you have to be in the dance group. And I wanted to know Jesus, so I joined. And there was this one Sunday, and I stood on the stage. And a couple of the other guys, they dropped out last minute, and obviously hadn't told me they were going to drop out. So it was me with 4 girls dancing to. And I remember thinking at that moment, I'm not going to be a Christian for long. And then I discovered there's churches where they don't do that dancing. I could go to one of those. And so I went to another church. And the other church that I went to, apparently it was illegal to ever smile. You can never smile. You have to talk about your sin. Have you sinned a lot this week? Yes, I sinned a lot. Oh, I lusted over that woman again. Oh, so did I. Oh, we're so sinful. You were never allowed to be happy. It was the culture, and if you came in smiling, it would only take a few weeks for you to adopt the culture of what was required. And then you look at Jesus, and Jesus says, whoever you are, come to me. Let the little children come to me. Have you ever worked with kids? Have you ever tried to make kids act in a certain way? Like wear certain clothes, or, say certain words? They don't do it. And what we see is with Jesus, he says, do you know what? You can dress however you want to dress and be friends with God. Did you know that? You can dress however you want to dress. You can dress in any kind of clothing. You can dress scruffy. Sometimes I come to church with toothpaste down my top just to make a point. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Do you know what? You can come to church and there can be somebody who's trying to spot somebody who's very nicely dressed and they're very smart and everyone thinks, cool, he's a smart looking bloke, but we won't give him the thumbs up because he's from Iran. And then next to him there'll be a guy, I won't be mean to, I'm not actually there'll be somebody else who's not smart. Are they less friends with God because they're not smart? Of course not. And so we're celebrating the food. You can eat any food now. Did you know that? You can eat any food and be friends with Jesus. You don't have to watch what you eat. I mean, you might have to watch what you eat for these reasons, but not for friendship with God. And mood. Sometimes I feel like, I meet so many people, you feel like, oh, in order to come to church, in order to be friends with God, I have to enter his courts with thanksgiving. Therefore, I'm not feeling very happy today, so I'm not going to come to God. I can't do the thanksgiving. Do you know what? It does say enter the courts of God with thanksgiving. But it also says, come to me all who are weary and heavy laden. It also says, come to me if you're fearful. It also says, Jesus the whole time is interacting with his disciples and he's saying, don't be scared. Don't be scared. The voice of Jesus is speaking to people when they're afraid, when they're upset, when they're scared, when they don't know what's going on, when they're completely confused. Thomas, do you know the story of Thomas? He's like, I don't really believe Jesus rose from the dead. I don't really believe Jesus rose from the dead. And Jesus doesn't show up and like, right, you're out. That's not a culture I accept. He comes and he says, Thomas, come and touch me. Come and be with me. So I just want to say to you, I don't know what your understanding is of how you come to God. I know what you think you need to do in order to be part of this church. But as far as I'm concerned, Jesus isn't fussy. I've prayed for Rastafarians and Jesus has moved in their life. We've got a lady in the evening congregation, she's a Muslim, she still probably is a Muslim, and yet she's like, Jesus answers prayers quickly, doesn't he? And we love it. We want you to come as you are. And yet as you meet Jesus, as you engage with Jesus, as you really see the real Jesus, as he says, touch my hands, as he says, don't be afraid, as he says, come follow me, you'll find actually that some of the things you used to do, you don't want to do anymore. And some of the things you thought were most important are not quite so important. But it's what Jesus says. It's his things. And he changes us. And he loves us. And we can be friends with him. And today we're celebrating many cultures. And just by definition, I know that because I'm on the microphone a lot, I will give an impression that my culture is superior. Just naturally. So Andy, who does youth, one time said to me, he goes, you don't display a lot of emotional range, do you, Tom? So since then I've tried to, come on. Like he does. And so you might get the impression that actually the appropriate thing to do with God is to kind of, never really go high emotion or low emotion. That's not superior. That's not superior to somebody else who has emotions all over the place. It's not superior. It's just who I am. And you can be totally different from that. And so what we want to do is we want to see all the cultures that God has created fused together to create this delicious fusion, this fragrance of many different things. And so what we want you to do is to be you. We just want you to bring your own makeup, your own thing, and bring it to Jesus. And when you bring it to Jesus, you don't bring it to Jesus waving it like a flag above your head. You bring it to Jesus on your knees. This is who I am. Is there anything you want me to change? Is there anything I can give? I like wearing these clothes, but if you want me to not wear them, I'll not wear them. I like eating this food. I like hanging out with these people. I like doing things this way. And I'm going to keep doing them, Jesus, unless you show me that those things are not what you want me to do. That's what we want to be like as a family together. Jesus is our tabernacle now. He is the place where we meet with God by his Spirit, who loves to dwell in people from every nation, of every age, and of every social class. So shall we pray? Shall we invite this Jesus to come and move among us?